Hey there, welcome back. Today we are going to be back in the Redbud Garden tackling or attempting to tackle this kind of really messy bed where the walnut stump was taken out and I'm left with, plants like uprooted and just a whole mess. So I'm gonna take care of that, kind of get the bed edge defined a little bit. It rained yesterday, so the soil's actually workable. It's been pretty dry and the clay is already starting to harden and crack and become very difficult to work with. But we should be able to get the edge cleaned up pretty well. I have some shrubs to go in. I have a quince, some calicarpa beauty berries. Let's see, I have baptisia, a few echinaceas, boxwood, some heucheras, and some daisies, I think, as well as some of the plug perennials that I want to kind of get smattered through here. I don't know if I'll be able to get them all in today, but between today and tomorrow I should be able to tackle this. I'm going to kind of work like one section of this at a time, so I'm going to work in this 4 section first and getting that cleaned up, and then I'm going to work to the back kind of behind where I have that spruce, wrapping to the edge where the redbud tree is, and that's where I want to sheet mulch. Probably not get anything planted on kind of this half really, other than some shrubs. I did get a tiger eye sumac that I've had in a container for like 2 years now. I did get that in the ground. And I have a forsythia as well that I would like to get over there, but I don't think I'll be putting any perennials in that area right now. I think that'll be something that I tackle next year. It's actually a pretty cool morning and there's a nice breeze, so let's get started. Okay, that's decent enough. Okay, so this particular edge, I'm not actually trying to expand up here, just clean it up. These are a native Liatris, just the straight species, not the cultivar. I think one of the most popular cultivars is Cobalt, and then there's also Boa. But they're quite lovely. They have tall purple plumes on them that the pollinators absolutely love. And they're a pretty forgiving plant. They have these little corms, and I have done all the horrible things that you could do to a corm and to a plant, and they have survived it with no issue. And they can reseed. I'm finding that out in my garden at least. Okay, so I've got everything kind of laid out the way I want it to go. So I'm hoping that I'm able to knock it out. One big planting spree right now, starting right here. And we'll do bigger things first. After I get everything in and watered and stuff, I'll come through and like deadhead, like these daisies need to be deadheaded. I picked these up on clearance at Lowe's. I don't think I've ever had to pay full price for daisies. Lowe's is constantly letting them dry out. This variety is Amazing Daisies Marshmallow. They've got really cute fluffy double blooms, 18 to 20 inches high, space 20 inches apart, hardiness 5 to 9. And that's why they dried out at Lowe's and suffered. When something gets so root bound like that, the water just can't penetrate that mat. This is kind of right underneath the serviceberry, but it's a pretty open canopy habit that it has. Lets a lot of light through, and as it grows, that is how I intend to maintain it, is kind of lifted. This is one of our little Millennium Allium plugs. They get 12 inches by 12 inches. Oh, that is just an awful chunk of clay there. I'm really trying to focus on repetition through all of my gardens and all of the beds, kind of keeping the plantings cohesive and beginning to edit a little bit better. And keep the color schemes cohesive, really stick to a color scheme. But you know, if you want to do it well, it's gonna take some time, and it takes some thought, and it takes editing. Because you have 3 seasons to consider. What's blooming when, what color those blooms are. It doesn't do much good to say that my color scheme is peach, purple, and white, and then all of the purples are only blooming in the spring, and the peaches are only blooming in summer, and you get the gist. Okay, so right here, I am putting in a boxwood that I took out of the deck garden area a while back when I did that, and I had it in a planter. It's been abused a bit, so it got a little bit dried out, but I'm really hoping that it kind of revives and perks back up. I dumped out some bags of compost that I had over here, and so that's what I'm kind of taking from, mixing that in a little bit with this clay. And this is a green velvet. It says it can tolerate full sun to full shade, and mature size is 4x4, but we all know boxwoods, it's going to take a long time for it to ever reach that, and I could maintain it to something smaller if needed for the area. I really, this fall, want to get a lot of bulbs in here because I think that it will be the most beautiful spring show to have a bunch of spring blooming bulbs popping up underneath the serviceberry as it starts to bloom. Yes, should be great. These are 2 Primo Black Pearl heucheras. I would like to get my hands on some more, put a few more underneath here. I think that would be really nice. But these are a couple that I picked up on clearance last year. And these get, these stay short, 8 to 10 inches tall, space them 26 inches apart. So we're hoping that these act as a ground cover, essentially, back here. They look very similar to, I think it's wedding gown or black wedding gown, something along those lines. Just really lovely dark foliage. All right here is a Millennium Allium that we're just transplanting from a different part of the bed. And actually these are a Calamintha, and they are just struggling along. I believe they are Montrose White, something white. I have 2 more over there that are doing a little bit better. I think they just, don't like the soil conditions over here. So we'll have to find a better home for them. I'm thinking they will do do better in the Daydream Garden. The soil over there is a bit better conditions, a bit better draining. Alliums are such a favorite. I'm sure that's probably true with so many gardeners. They're so easy, and the blooms are so distinct. You don't have many opportunities for that kind of globe shape bloom. And if you buy them from bulbs, you have the options of some pinks and reds and whites, and obviously various shades of kind of the blues and purples. But also the foliage itself on the perennial plant ones it's really nice. It's got that kind of blue cast to it, thin, strappy look. All around lovely plants. And then, of course, aside from just the aesthetic things, it's beloved by many a pollinator. I don't know that I've ever noticed birds on the seeds. I don't think that I have. Of course, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. But the seed heads themselves do look good after, the blooms are done. So there's that as well. Okay, these are those Mai Tai geums, which actually some of the ones that I planted on the other side over there are still blooming, sending up more blooms. So really impressive, A, for, as tiny a plant as it is, and B, I haven't done any deadheading. They're just doing that all of their own. It's been a pretty long bloom period that they've been putting out. And again, these get 18 inches high and should be spaced 14 inches apart. And they've been very forgiving of me keeping them in their tiny containers for so long. Lots of new growth is already pushing out from the centers. And they have a really cute scalloped foliage that I like as well. These right here are the two other nepetas that I was referring to that are doing a bit better than the ones on the other side, but I mean, not great. And they didn't perform well last year either. I just didn't really have anything to replace them with, so I kept them here. Here are 3 sombrero poco hot coral cone flowers. This one, you can see really beautiful orangey coral color, keeping with our color scheme. And they grow 14 to 16 inches tall and need to be spaced 16 to 18 inches apart. And our zones 4 through 9. This is one of those My Monet Weigelas that came from the other side of the garden. They stay quite small, 1 to 1.5 feet tall, 2 to 2.5 feet wide. So that'll be nice underneath this Baptisia, which will get a little leggy. Okay, this is the Decadence Deluxe Periwinkle Popsicle Baptisia. I thought I was gonna put it on that side, but this one gets even bigger than I had thought. This gets over 4 foot tall and nearly 4 foot wide. So it's gonna go right here. One of those avalanche grass plugs that I accidentally broke a couple plumes on. So it is the next morning. I'm out here before the sun gets a little too harsh over here, but I accomplished pretty much everything that I set out to. I did not get the quince shrub planted, and I still have a forsythia shrub to plant, but I got all of the perennials in and some other shrubs in as well, and I even got the wood chips laying down. I just used wood chips that my neighbor gave from having a couple of trees removed. They've been aging for just a month. And there is the concern that fresh wood chips, as they break down, are going to suck the nitrogen out of the soil and hinder plant growth. I am not that concerned because my soil is very rich in nitrogen, like literally off the charts on my last soil test. I will keep an eye on everything, And if I see any issues, address them as I can, but I don't foresee that being a problem. Of course, it's not as pretty as like a hardwood shredded mulch, but it was free. I had it, so get it used. And, you know, the hope is that everything grows in and fills out and you don't really see that much mulch. At least that's my hope. So here are those echinaceas. Better look at that color. I kept these two nepidas in. We'll see how these ones do. I put the other two in the Daydream garden. Hopefully they perform better over there. And around this corner is the small drift of the geums. And these are those marshmallow daisies. So cute, so frilly. I did put in 4 of the Robustissima anemones back there, and then a little drift of the liatris. And so this is kind of the line where it stops my planting. And then this back half, with the exception of shrubs that I'm going to put in, there's the quince, is not going to get filled in with perennials this year. I don't think. I say that now, but you know, that might change. But as of right now, I don't think I'm going to focus on getting this planted until next year. I did get everything sheet mulched, kind of along this new line. It's not out quite as far as it's going to be, just because I need to get these stones removed, and I don't want to kind of get this line in place and then them come to remove this propane tank and like wreck the bed edge. But for now, it is good and I'm happy with where it's at. You can kind of see it'll wrap around the back of the redbud there. I need to get a little bit more wood chips to cover that part. That I did also get this edge cleaned up all the way around. I still need to come through and pick up this sod, get that out of the way, actually pick up a lot of my mess. And right here is kind of a little section that I'm going to rework a bit as well. This is a Crimson Doll lilac that has since finished blooming, but it's a reblooming one, so I anticipate getting more from that soon. This was one of those really big changes that, you know, you instantly see. It's not like planting a few plants and having to kind of look for the change. This is so obvious and impactful, and it's feeling so good having this space start to come together the way that I had imagined. And thank you for being a part of that journey with me and joining me in this video today, and we'll see you in the next one.